Well, good morning, and we're here at the podium roof of City Hall, and unfortunately, because of the pandemic, of course, we can't have here the many people who I think would want to be here for this a very important occasion that we've now celebrated 76 years in a row. This is the 76th anniversary of D-Day. And there's a lot of people who weren't born on D-Day. I wasn't born on D-Day, but I think as people have studied history, hopefully even those who are very young today will understand the importance of that day within the context of the rights and freedoms that we enjoy today in this country and the rights and freedoms that are enjoyed in many countries around the world, because it was a turning point in the Second World War. And I'm very pleased to be joined today by Corporal Stephen Abra from the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada. And on that day, 76 years ago, many Canadians, thousands of Canadians, were involved in an event that was a turning point in the war. And many of those were from Toronto. And no regiment more so than the Queen's Own Rifles, which were very much involved and suffered heavy casualties on that day. We lost a lot of Canadians that day, and we lost a lot of Torontonians on that day that was so important to the protection of democracy and to the recapturing of democracy in countries in Europe and indeed in many parts of the world. It was a huge historic battle that was a turning point in the war and has been commemorated ever since. And behind me, what you see today is the Toronto flag. But this is no ordinary Toronto flag that we're going to raise today that Corporal Abra is holding. This is a Toronto flag that flew on Juno Beach, one of the key theaters of D-Day, where Canadians were particularly involved and made huge sacrifices on that day. And so it's a very symbolic flag that we're raising here, and it's symbolic of remembering the sacrifices that were made that day by Canadians and by others, our allies in the war. It is symbolic as well because it is reflective of the continued honoring that we do on this day and hopefully every day of those who served in other actions on behalf of Canada in our armed forces, and of course those who serve today. Most of our activities today are of a peacekeeping nature, but even here in the city of Toronto, we have had the assistance of the Canadian Armed Forces in working with us to deal with the pandemic and doing some very heroic work in helping to care for some of our most elderly and fragile citizens. And so I just want to make sure that we think of today of those who gave their lives. We think of those who were injured. Most of them are gone now, but we still think of them because of the incredible sacrifice they made, the incredible service they gave to our country in the cause of freedom, in the cause of the freedom of expression that we have today, all of which were very much threatened at the time by the events of the Second World War. And so I hope by raising this flag today, we will honor them, we will honor the people who continue to serve today, and that we will always remember their sacrifices and remember the service of those who continue to serve us to this day and who will do so going forward in the cause of keeping this country free, keeping this country the great place that it is to live, the magnet for people from around the world to come here, to enjoy this freedom, to celebrate this freedom, to celebrate the diversity that we cherish so much in this city. And so on that note, I will raise the flag, which will fly today, this flag that flew 1 year ago on Juno Beach, which was one of the principal sites involved with D-Day, a turning point in World War II.